Hey, good evening, everyone. We're going to begin with our caucus before we formally call our meeting to order. I will call the meeting to order once we are finished with caucus. Mr. Parker will lead us in roll call. The invocation will be led by, we'll hear from our printed agenda. Both Councilman Rodriguez and Councilwoman Daniels are excused this evening. So I will lead the invocation in Councilman Rodriguez's absence. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilwoman Rawls. We do not have any communications this evening. We will then open the floor for courtesy of the floor, followed by approval of the minutes. These are the approval of minutes for the legislative session that occurred on July 5th, 2023. We do not have any ordinances for first reading, ordinances for amendment, or ordinances for final passage this evening. We will then move to resolutions. First, we have Resolution 54 of 2023. We will suspend the rules. Director Hill, in her absence, has shared a summary document. If there are any questions regarding that document, we will then vote on Resolution 54. Next, we have Resolution 58 of 2023. We will suspend the rules for discussion and then vote. Next, Resolution 59 of 2023. We will suspend the rules for discussion and vote. Resolution 60 of 2023. We will also suspend the rules and then vote on it. Resolution 61 of 2023, we will suspend the rules for discussion and then vote. And the final resolution for consideration tonight is Resolution 62 of 2023, which we will suspend the rules for discussion and then vote on. Is there any old business, council members? No. I have one update regarding Resolution 35 of 2023. Any new business? Okay, and then we will adjourn. So the time is 6:04 p.m. I'd like to officially call our legislative session to order. Mr. Parker, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Ms. Daniels? Ms. Green?
Present.
Mr. Lawson?
Here.
Mr. Majors?
Here.
Ms. Rawls?
Present. Present.
Mr. Rodriguez? And Ms. Bowers?
Present. Please note for the meeting record that Councilman Rodriguez and Councilwoman Daniels are both excused this evening. As I mentioned during our caucus, the invocation, I will lead the invocation in Councilman Rodriguez's absence. So if everybody could clear their hearts and minds for a moment of silence for those that we've lost over the summer and just for peace within our city. Thank you. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilwoman Rawls.
Thank you. Everyone can stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States.
Thank you, Councilwoman Rawls. We do not have any communications this evening. We will now move to courtesy of the floor. So just for everyone's, for logistical purposes, we will be using this microphone here for courtesy of the floor. The same discussion applies. You'll have 2 minutes to share your comment. Mr. Parker will serve as our timekeeper. And if you could please state your name and your address for the meeting record. If you don't feel comfortable sharing your address, please share the vicinity in which you live so we can begin.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Good evening. My name is Ron Johnson. I'm the chair of the Neighborhood Square Watch. I live at 1847 Circus. First, I want to congratulate the residents of Harrisburg for standing up for their voters' rights. But equally, they should be standing up for the survival of our community. Now, I've been battling sickle cell all of my life, and I've been in back-to-back crises. But I still get phone calls, I get videos, I get all kinds of stuff. And it seems like when we call for help, we get no assistance. I'm tired of seeing mothers, grandmothers, and family members wailing and crying in the streets of Harrisburg over their dead loved ones. And it has to be something that we can do to stop that, even if elected leadership comes to the forefront and gets on the news to tell them this can no longer be tolerated in our city or our communities. And I think that's about it, and I'm going down for something. Thank you.
thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to offer public comment?
My name is Nicholas St. Louis. I live at 1621 Great Hill Street. And we just revote today we just revote because last year on August 3rd, 2022, I was cornered in an alleyway by two men and I was sexually assaulted. I know one of the men's name, and his name is Bill Taylor. And for all the years since we moved to our home in 2014, he's been harassing us. My family and I have been having a lot of friends of his to harass us. They received things of property restored from us. The rest of these things happening, he's sexually assaulting me. And when we come to the police, they've done nothing. The DEA has done nothing. And we need some justice here. That's all I was saying.
Thank you. Our public safety chairman is absent this evening, but if you wouldn't mind staying after the meeting, so that we can meet with you and hopefully gain some assistance. Is there anyone else who would like to offer public comment? Okay, oh, sure you can, if you wouldn't mind going to the microphone.
This hello, my name is Barbara Brown, I'm the runner of the St. Louis. The thing is that I was threatened by the lady, her name is Chelsea Robbins. She said that if I go public with my son's case, she would charge me. Just because that I said that it's not over, you know, I'm gonna go public, and that's why she would charge me. So we have to reconsider that, that would be a big mistake. I'm trying to get my son help. You know, he's repeating the 9th grade, you know, he's not the same person. I just want help, and I've been calling the police, as my son said, since we moved there. And I'm laughed at, they say that I'm insane. What's happening in my cameras, they're Norwegians. And we're just not safe, and the harassment goes on. There are 42 cameras outside my home. And I was forced to put a fence to prevent further attacks. And the same man who attacked my son called the codes office, and it was removed. And I just don't know what to do. The VA don't even have any compassion for my son or anything. That's the last words. I will go public and I'll charge you. I just want some help. He's only 15, he was 14 when he was attacked. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to offer public comment? Seeing and hearing no one, we will move to the approval of minutes. Council members, I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to review the minutes for the legislative session that occurred on July 5th of 2023. Are there any questions or revisions to those meeting minutes? Seeing and hearing none, the minutes stand approved. We do not have any ordinances for first reading, ordinances for amendment, or ordinances for final passage. We will now move to resolutions. The first resolution for consideration this evening is Resolution 54 of 2023. Mr. Parker, could you please read it into the record?
Yes. Resolution 4 of 2023. A resolution approving the fiscal year 2023 through 2027 5-year consolidated plan for the city of Harrisburg, Department of Building and Housing Development.
Thank you. Council members, I'm not sure if there are any questions, comments, or concerns related to Resolution 54 of 2023. If you would like to suspend the rules for discussion, we can. Solicitor Grover is here. Not sure if he's prepared to answer any questions regarding the 5-year plan.
Depending what it is.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules for discussion.
I don't have a question particularly on your plan of building, but not particularly maybe in that zone. So I don't know if it would be. Maybe I could just have an email to Director Bill.
That might be better if if it's not addressed, I guess, in the 5-year plan.
Yeah. Should I still suspend and ask it to go on record or just?
If you'd like to, we can.
That's fine,
Okay,
just quickly.
all right.
Yeah, so
So you'd like to suspend the rules? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
the question I had, excuse me, this might be a bit awkward. I did see in the 5-year plan about case workers or case managers, so my question just really was, with the case managers, do they still make home visits? To people living in the home or those people on the lease, is the home up to code, things to that nature. I know that's something that used to be done. I don't know if it still is diligently or not, but that was just one of my questions.
You would be Michelle to answer that.
Yeah, I figured. That's fine.
Okay, are there any other questions regarding the 5-year plan?
As we're on the record, it just should be noted, it's my understanding no comments were received. We were open for a public comment period, and it's my understanding there was none.
Okay, thank you. And that public comment period closed
Yes.
yesterday,
Yes.
August 7th, just for everybody's reference. Okay, if there are no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to resume our legislative session.
So
Is there a second?
Okay.
Thank you. We have now resumed our legislative session for consideration of Resolution 54 of 2023. Are there any final questions, comments, or concerns?
I'll just make a quick comment. I'll keep it brief. For the public record, I'm just gonna make the program year 2023 spent, if you don't mind. So the city of Harrisburg will receive $1,800,222 and 222. Oh, excuse me. Let's start over. $1,822,270 for CDBG, $127,587 for home, and $186,164 for ESG. And then, as noted, the annual submission to HUD has to be submitted by no later than August 15th. And specific organizations on our project that were submitted will be submitted to council in September of 2022 for the development.
Thank you. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Parker, could you please call the vote?
Yes. Ms. Daniels. Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Ms. Rawls,
Yes.
and Ms. Bowers.
Yes.
Resolution 54 of 2023 passes unanimously 5 yeas to 0 nays, including 2 excused absences.
Thank you. Next, we have Resolution 58 of 2023. Mr. Parker, could you please read it into the record?
Yes. Resolution 58 of 2023. A resolution of the Council of the City of Harrisburg authorizing and appointing Daniel Snow, acting city engineer, as the city's designee to execute any forms and documents in the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation's electronic engineering and construction management system.
Thank you. Council members, I will entertain a motion to suspend the rules for discussion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Solicitor Grover, are you?
I don't know that Mr. Snow is here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Snow, I haven't had the opportunity to meet you. I thought that was you, but I didn't want to assume. So it's nice to meet you, if you wouldn't mind, coming to the microphone and introducing yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dan Snow. I'm the new city engineer for Harrisburg. I worked for PennDOT as a consultant for the past 10 years. And I was looking for a positive change, so there I am.
Okay, well, welcome. We look forward to working with you. So with Resolution 58, this would give you authorization as the city's designee to execute any forms and documents in PennDOT's electronic engineering and construction management system. Okay. Are there any pending documents there now for your signature that you're aware of?
I believe, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I'm pretty sure that, I don't know if Marita is doing that.
The council had previously authorized Ms. Kelly to be the signatory, and the question came now, there's an engineer to transfer the engineer's office, he has a statutory obligation. So that it's a fairly technical matter. And technically what you're doing is you're authorizing the mayor, controller, sign something designated. There's nothing in the law that lets that.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. I'll open the floor for questions from my colleagues. I'll begin to my left with Councilman Majors. Any questions for Mr. Snow?
Well, first of all, welcome. Can you just speak a little bit on, some of the work you've done thus far, it's brief time, since you come on to
Yeah, sure. So as of right now, I've been starting to compile where we're at with our capital improvement projects, seeing where we're at with the grant funding. Trying to get a feel for what the administration's initiatives are moving forward. And also, I'm starting to work on some of the outstanding items with interdepartmental. It's only been a month. So,
Okay. No, thank you. If no further questions, then we'll have another opportunity to speak with yourself. But thank you. No further questions, President Powers.
Thank you, Vice President Green. Any questions?
Thank you. Just kind of echoing the sentiments of my council member here. Welcome. I look forward to continuing to starting to work with you. I don't have any questions as far as resolution 58, but I look forward to seeing what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Lawson, any questions?
Thank you, President Bowers. No questions, but first I want to thank you, Mr. Snow, for accepting the position. It's been a long time coming. We're thrilled to have you on the board and look forward to working with you here in the near future. It's, I'm sure, a lot on your plate, and based on everything we've been seeing, there's a lot more coming to your plate. So we're really happy to have you. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rawls, any questions?
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Mr. Snow. Thank you for accepting the job. I know it may not always be easy at times, so I hope you stick with us. We are delightful. But I just had one question. What is your vision for Harrisburg when you see it, when you signed up for the job? Anything you're doing?
Safety is obviously a top priority of mine, but, I think I'm looking at this, like, I want to carry out what the people want, and what the administration wants. And I see myself as more of that type of person to carry out what their initiatives are. That's fine.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. If there are no other questions, thank you, Mr. Snow, for joining us this evening. I will now entertain a motion to resume our legislative session.
Motion to. So.
Is there a second? Thank you. We have now resumed our legislative session to consider resolution 58 of 2023. Are there any final questions, comments, or concerns related to resolution 58 of 2023? Okay, seeing and hearing none, Mr. Parker, could you please call the vote?
Yes. Resolution 58 of 2023. Ms. Daniels is absent. Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Ms. Rawls,
Yes.
and Ms. Bowers.
Yes.
Resolution 58 of 2023 passes unanimously. 5 yeas to 0 nays, with 2 excused absences.
Thank you. Next, we have resolution 59 of 2023. Mr. Parker, could you please read it into the record?
Yes, resolution 59 of 2023. A resolution of the Council of the City of Harrisburg appropriating and authorizing the use of initial insurance proceeds relating to the Broad Street Market.
Thank you. Council members, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules for discussion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Resolution 59 of 2023, Solicitor Grover.
Thank you, Madam President. I would look, Mr. Hartman intended to be here tonight, had a family, medical emergencies, could not be with us today. He's sort of quarterbacking the overall approach to the property market right now. This resolution is a very simple opening resolution. There's an advance being authorized by Liberty Mutual, our carrier, of $500,000. We are incurring costs as we speak on stabilizing the property by putting up renting fences and hiring contractors to do it. We are in the process of trying to acquire a tent building that will become a temporary site. That cost is not insignificant. Basically, it authorizes the departments to keep moving and spending money to get those done. There actually is not really anything in Pennsylvania law on the emergency side of this that we could use. The mayor's emergency powers are for natural disasters, snow emergencies, riots, other things like that, and they're limited in time. It's a longer issue. So we do need authorization to spend the money and to keep the plan forward.
Thank you. I'll open the floor for questions from my colleagues. I'll begin with Councilwoman Rawls. Any questions?
No, I don't have any.
Thank you. Councilman Lawson, any questions?
The only question, and I'm not sure if Mr. Grover will be able to answer this, is do we know the total scope yet for the repairs of the building?
We do not.
And then the other question would be, have you heard anything from our local government partners, being the federal or state government, with any possible assistance with the rehabilitation of the building?
we've heard from many entities about their willing to participate in the rehabilitation of the building. And we expect that there'll be sort of a detailed, multi-phase plan to do it. Because of the nature of the building, it's on the National Register of Historic places, spaces, and it has been a prior recipient of federal funding for repairs. Both of those things are significant in terms of what's available to repair. I can tell you in general, that there seems to be significant insurance money to pay for restoration of what existed, but not for some of the tangential coverages like architects and engineers and all of those things. Professional, there really isn't much coverage for those things, although we're trying to work to see whether the policy will pick up some of that. They've offered expertise, they've offered potential financial assistance, but there has to be a full plan in place as putting this together. There has to be designs put together. And some real expertise in what you can and cannot do historically to that. I will note things like when an event like this happens, there are certain code requirements that did not exist, obviously, that we now have to bring the building in compliance with sprinkler systems. But those are things that have to be engineered designed and aren't in the design as the building was. Things like ADA compliance has to happen now. So there is some real work to be done in the redesign of the property. And I think it will be a lot of people who are at the table trying to figure out what the best options are with the funds that are going to be available.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Vice President Green, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Majors, any questions?
No question.
Thank you. I will now entertain a motion to resume our legislative session for consideration of Resolution 59 of 2023.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We now have Resolution 59 of 2023 before us for consideration. Are there any final questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing and hearing them, Mr. Parker, could you please call the vote?
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Ms. Rawls,
Yes.
Ms. Bowers.
Yes.
Resolution 59 of 2023 passes unanimously. 5 yeas to 0 nays with 2 excused absences.
Thank you. Next, we have Resolution 60 of 2023. Mr. Parker, could you please read it into the record?
Yes. Resolution 60 of 2023. A resolution of the Council of the City of Harrisburg authorizing the mayor to negotiate and enter into 3 temporary lease agreements to permit the ongoing operation of the Broad Street Market.
Thank you. Council members, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules for discussion. Is there a second?
Sorry.
Thank you. Solicitor Grover, any discussion for Resolution 60?
Yes, Madam Chair, and so right now, the design of what we immediately need are 3 specific things. One is our current lease and management agreement with the Broad Street Market Alliance allows them to manage the building. This is simply going to extend their ability to manage what's going to be the temporary building as well. That building, under current discussions, would have heat and air conditioning and running water. It's a military style tent building that actually is more like wooden walls that will go up. It's significant in size. So one is to negotiate that change into temporarily with the Broad Street Market Alliance. Second is to actually negotiate the rental and lease of the tent building. The fire chief has secured 3 quotes from different entities for those. Those matters are finalized, are fairly wide ranging. And there's an understanding they need about 2 weeks minimum to once we sign an agreement to make the building available and set it up. The third is a lease actually of land that's near the Broad Street Market to put that on for a temporary thing. And that lease has to be negotiated. I believe that the current thinking is that the rent will simply be the city underwriting whatever the tax payments were for the period of time for the real estate tax. And so for us, making sure the taxes are paid on those 2 years, which I think is a reasonable expectation, it will be 2 years before we have a fully occupiable building. That lease will be for that period of time. There'll be other legal details in it about extensions or cancellation and things like that. Lawyers have to worry about. But that is the outline of the plan we have right now. One of the things we're trying to make sure with each of these is that each thing we enter into doesn't do something to run afoul of the insurance coverage that we have. There are many insurance people involved in this because there are so many separate leases. There's all the vendors, there's us, there's the management company. So, we are trying to coordinate all of those to, have a careful approach.
Thank you. I'll now open the floor for questions from my colleagues. I'll begin with Councilman Majors. Any questions?
No questions, but thank you, Leon. Any other questions I may, all the questions I may have on that.
Thank you. Vice President Reed, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions for me.
Thank you. Councilman Lawson, any questions?
No, thank you, no questions.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rawls.
Thank you. I just have one, for the lease agreement or for any payments that need to be made for these lease agreements, would that be coming from insurance or, the budget?
It is initially thought that insurance would cover it, but again, this is where we're making sure that we're not running about. It is technically an advance on insurance. And so it's, I will note that one of the first people I've met in this process is forensic accountant who showed up at the fire scene. So they're going to be very careful how we spend them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to resume our legislative session.
So.
Is there a second? Second. Thank you. Before us, we have Resolution 60 of 2023. Are there any final questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, seeing and hearing none, Mr. Parker, could you please call the vote?
Yes. Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Ms. Rawls,
Yes.
Ms. Bowers.
Yes.
Resolution 60 of 2023 passes unanimously, 5 yeas to 0 nays with 2 excused absences.
Thank you. Next, we have Resolution 61 of 2023. Mr. Parker, could you please read it into the record?
Resolution 61 of 2023. A resolution authorizing the city of Harrisburg to negotiate and enter into a new long-term lease agreement with the Harrisburg School District for Jackson Lake Pool.
Thank you. Council members, I will entertain a motion to suspend the rules for discussion.
So.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Solicitor Grover.
Madam President, if you may recall, the city received a grant from BCED of federal funds for the upgrade and repair of issues of 5 separate parks, including the one facility was Jackson Lake Pool in particular. In the course of the due diligence of demonstrating our right to be there, to put the money into it, it turned out that the city of Harrisburg does not own the property where Jackson Lake Pool is. It never has. It had been subject to 2 prior long-term leases, and the last one expired a decade ago. So we had to renew a lease back with the school district, who were the owners of the property, in order to properly be able to spend the upgrade money that's there. I would say the correct way to frame the current status is that it is now really just lawyers working through language for the situation. And I will note neither the district, any current personnel, nor the city, any current personnel knew that it was a school district property until this came up. So everyone is new to the discussion in terms of legal technicalities, and we're simply working through those. But we do need, if you recall, those federal funds have deadlines for uses. And so we do need to keep moving to wrap it up so we can spend the money and not have to call it back in any way on those parts. So and it's that particular one, I think it's $5.some million that goes to the Jackson Lake upgrade and repair. So we are simply trying to get the fine points down at this point. So we're asking for authority to move forward and complete that long-term lease. The other ones, there was no exchange of monies. There was some promises about what each other would do. Frankly, I don't know that they ever happened 35 years ago. I just have no idea. They certainly haven't been happening for many, many years if they ever did. I think there's a committee for them. We're trying to avoid those things now and just, we operate the pool as we've operated.
Thank you. Just wanted to read through the resolution, so just bear with me. The district owns the property, and the prior 25-year lease agreement between the district and the city has since expired. The Jackson Lake Pool has been solely controlled and operated by the city for roughly 50 years for the benefit of city residents, including children attending the district. The city intends to utilize the DCD grant award of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD funding, which must be expended on or before December 29, 2024, to update Jackson Lake Pool as part of a multi-park upgrade. The city is required to demonstrate the right to lease the property in order to fully utilize this one-time grant funding for upgrades. The full term and effective date of the new long-term lease agreement is subject to negotiation by the parties. The lease agreement will govern the terms and conditions under which the city will continue to operate and maintain the public swimming pool and related facilities. I'll now open the floor to my colleagues for questions. I'll begin with our Parks, Recreation and Enrichment Committee Chair, Councilwoman Ross.
Thank you, President Bowers. Well, I have a few questions. Well, probably not 2 questions, probably more thoughts and questions, but my first question would be, how much do we pay at Harrisburg School District to lease? Do you know? Okay, nothing.
Yes.
Well, that part's good. This one is a tough one for me, I think, because when speaking to residents, people in the community, they're fine with one pool, they don't really want two. We haven't really kept up both pools, not us here, but just in general over the years, it's been pretty poorly taken care of. So, but it's good that we're not paying anything. I know we have the grant, but it does concern me, especially with community members. So those are my thoughts, so I'll pass it along.
Thank you. Councilman Lawson, any questions?
No questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Green, any questions?
Thank you. I don't have any questions regarding this.
Okay, Councilman Majors, any questions?
Thank you. So given this resolution, would the city be able to share with the public when agreement terms are reached, what those agreements are, at least with the council?
With everybody, they're public documents, and from our view, because they're not financial, it's simply right to occupy and continue it. And I'm sure those who would be happy to say to the school district, well, you run the pool, you hire the kids, but that isn't necessarily realistic. right? That's a sea change for the city of Paris. They have not voiced an interest in doing that, I would say. Their questions are more technical than operational. They are interested in what the design would be, and the design's public as well, and that whole process of what's going to be there. So the pool will be back in front of you multiple. But this lease is really just a document that lets us be there at the end of the day. So you'll get that, that'll come back to council. The original discussion was we had to be done the money by December 2023. So now they've extended it by a year, which takes a little bit of the pressure off, but we still have to get it designed and done.
Okay.
But that was in my last discussion, we were looking at 2023. And you know, that was a challenge of let's just keep moving, trying to get this finished. And frankly, lawyers don't end up causing it to close.
Okay. And then I guess with respect to timing, do you have any sense of how long it will take to finalize any agreement?
I would think we'd have it by September. The school district tonight is voting on the crossing guard agreement at the same time you're meeting. I don't know if they're entertaining a discussion on Jackson Lake because we haven't partially done that.
Okay, all right, thank you. No further questions. Thank you, President Powers.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to resume our legislative session.
So
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have before us resolution 61 of 2023. Council members, are there any final questions, comments, or concerns related to the resolution? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Parker, could you please call the vote?
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
yes.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Ms. Rawls,
No.
and Ms. Bowers.
Yes.
Resolution 61 of 2023 passes with a vote of 4 yeas, 1 nay, and 2 excused absences.
Thank you. Our final resolution for consideration this evening is resolution 62 of 2023. Mr. Parker, could you please read it into the record?
Yes, resolution 62 of 2023. A resolution authorizing the city of Harrisburg to negotiate and enter into an intergovernmental cooperation agreement with the Harrisburg School District to employ school crossing guards in order to provide a safe walking/traveling situation for the schools in the community.
Thank you. Council members, I will entertain a motion to suspend the rules for discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Good evening.
Being them, President, Madam President, and the city council members.
Okay, so this is to finalize the intergovernmental cooperation agreement with the Harrisburg School District and the city of Harrisburg to employ school crossing guards. I guess my question, I just want to make sure that, okay, so this is a 1-year pilot program agreement that shall be from August 14th of 2023 and end on June 30th of 2024, or the final day of the 2023 through 2024 academic year, whichever comes first. The pilot program exists to govern the terms and conditions under which the city will employ up to 12 school crossing guards. The city and the district jointly desire that the city engage and assign school crossing guards at the following locations: 6th Street and Division Street, 3rd Street and Radnor Street, 4th Street and Emerald Street, 6th Street and McClay Street, 6th Street and Riley Street, 17th Street and Market Street, 19th Street and Market Street, 19th Street and Dairy Street, 17th Street and Dairy Street, and 15th Street and Hurst Street. The cost of this pilot program is the full salary of 12 part-time school crossing guards, with the city bearing 40% and the district bearing 60% of the salary. Let's see, and there's no new organizational structure needed to implement the pilot program, and there's no separate entity created pursuant to this pilot program. So I just wanted to clarify and make sure that the crossing guards would be hired and in place prior to the start of the new school year, but with an August 14th date. Yes, that's the goal.
That was the goal when it first started, but I don't think that August 14th date is realistic right now because the final agreement had just been signed. So the ad went out, the advertisement went out for the crossing guards, and so we're getting applications and we're going to pull them and we're going to interview people. And then my traffic safety unit is going to train them.
Okay, great. I don't have any other questions. I'll open the floor to my colleagues. I'll begin with Councilman Majors. Any questions?
Thank you, and thank you for being here, Commissioner. So how long is the training program? So from the time how long is the training program?
It'll probably be a couple of days, maybe a week.
Okay, and then, so the solicitation already has gone out, we received applications. It will be, where will they be placed in the organizational structure? They'll fall under,
The CSAs.
so there'll be additional CSAs or?
No, they'll be crossing guard, but they'll be working out of the CSA office
Okay,
under Captain Widener.
okay, so that's who they'll be reporting to Captain White?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. No further questions, President Bowers.
Thank you. Vice President Green, any questions?
At this time, I don't have any questions.
Okay, Councilman Lawson, any questions?
And it may be that I've been a little bit removed, but thank you very much, Commissioner, for bringing this to us and answering questions. But is the school district currently having crossing guards and now we're just coming on board and taking away part of the burden, or are we redoing something that has kind of gone away?
We are restructuring something that really hasn't been there. I know the school district has two crossing guards that were actively working. I would go out there in the morning time and I would be a crossing guard, because of the concern that we have for our kids. So years back, the city ran the crossing guard. So now we're trying to get that back with the help of the district.
Okay.
It's important, that we have people out there crossing our kids because if you can recall, a couple of years ago, I believe it was a little female who got hit on Dairy Street. And 17th and State is speed traffic. So, we have to get people out there.
Okay, thank you. I was unaware that the program had faded to the Senate to crossing guards. So
Yes.
thank you for bringing us back. That's everything.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rawls, any questions?
Thank you. First, just thank you for working with the Harrisburg School District to bring this back. The crossing guard situation was quite terrific last year. I had one daughter at Melrose and one in Franklin. You get across the street was, sometimes you wouldn't think you'd be able to, the way the cars were backed up or someone got hit. So I do like that you're able to work together to get this right. I do know that it probably be hard to get them there by the 14th. But
Yes.
I know we'll try to work really hard. So I really hope and I'm praying that this pilot program goes better than expected. So that it continues, because I think, as long as we keep like working together with the school district, we can really just help each other out, so thank you.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
That's it.
Thank you. So if they aren't in place by August 14th, are you confident that maybe within the first month of school that they will be
Yes,
in place?
yes. And I will personally let the city council members know that they're there.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. Yes, Councilwoman Rose?
Just to piggyback off of that, maybe two additional, one would be if something happens and they're not in place, the school starts on the 28th.
Yes,
It could be the 27th, I'm sorry, I was getting 2 days mixed up, I should know this, but,
Mhm.
what, if there's not enough, will you be designating officers to go out to these, different streets and help until we get the crossing guards up and running, like, what will we plan B just in case they're not ready?
I will be sending officers out to do the crossing guarding to make sure that, our kids park safely. I'll have cars parked to make sure that people slow down and that they obey what they should do.
Okay, thank you. And that'll be before and after school. And that was
Yes.
the crossing guard for too, right?
Yes.
Before and after.
Yes,
Okay, and what is there, a plan set up, and it might be too technical right now, but on how they'll be like, I don't wanna say evaluated, but in a way, like going to make sure, like who's gonna go make sure that the crossing guards are active posts, they're not on their cell phones. They are making sure the kids are crossing safely, they have the stop signs, like things like that, who will make sure they're doing exactly what they have been asked to do.
we're gonna have officers out there riding around, observing, what they're doing. It's a, program, pilot program, so we wanna make sure that it gets off to a good start. We don't need any accidents, we don't need any freak accidents to happen because someone is using their cell phone. So, we'll have officers out there checking on them, and we'll be using the CSAs also check on them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to resume our legislative session for consideration of Resolution 62 of 2023.
So moved.
Is there a second? Thank you. Council members, are there any final questions, comments, or concerns related to Resolution 62 of 2023? Okay, seeing and hearing none, Mr. Parker, could you please call the vote?
Yes. Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Ms. Rawls.
Yes.
Ms. Bowers.
Yes.
Resolution 62 of 2023 passes unanimously, 5 yeas to 0 nays with 2 excused absences.
Thank you. I just had one note for old business. The city solicitor received a letter dated July 26, 2023 regarding Resolution 35 of 2023. That's a resolution approving the preliminary and final land development and lot consolidation plan for 2709 and 2717 North Front Street, submitted by Adam Kerr with EI 2709 North Front Street LLC to demolish the existing office buildings on the subject properties, combine the lots into a single parcel, and construct a 21-unit multi-family dwelling. The letter shared that the current deadline at that time for action on the plan was July 31st, 2023. They have requested to extend the time for action to September 15th, 2023. So I just wanted to note that for the record. Is there any other old business, council members? Yes.
Just for the record, in our last session, there was a land development plan that was introduced. That had a deemed approved deadline for August 14th. We did get an acknowledgement. They extended the time so council can hear the full land development plan and consider it and vote upon it.
Oh, great, thank you. So that was extended through September?
I don't have the exact date.
Okay.
Emily was taking care of this at her Jared.
Okay, all right, great, thank you. Council members, is there any new business for discussion? Okay. Just want to remind everyone that we are in this room this evening because the council chambers are being renovated. So our next meeting, we will resume our summer hiatus. After this meeting, we will return on August the 22nd into a renovated council chambers. So just wanted to remind everyone of that. I don't have anything else. The time is 6:57 p.m. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We stand adjourned.